all back once again for the first stream. Is this the first stream of 2026? Wait, no, it's not. Not even close. Holy shit, man. Where have I been for the last week? We had one on Friday, of course. That was the second day of this new year of 2026. Looks like my camera is a little bit zoomed out. One moment while I refocus this so you don't have to see the absolute mess that's going on in my closet there. My closet. I'm a closet homo too. Anyways, maybe fix this up a little bit as well. Well, I think that's good enough. It's good enough. You don't really need to see my face anyways. We're going to be looking at some Kryptons today, some Kryptons and some Bitcoins, playing out the rally that we've been looking for what feels like a long time now. But I suppose everything's kind of on schedule here, early 2026 rally. And while we're actually looking at gold at the moment, should probably actually go to Bitcoins here. Looks like CME is already at that $94,500 number. I want to point out the almost test of that green 55 EMA on the daily. That is just a natural target for what we're looking at on today. Of course, the same target that we've really been having in the sort of short term here. That corroborates with a few other indicators that we were looking at as well. I think the Rev and Ribbons are still accurately summarizing the short term and medium term here quite well. We did see it reclaim the middle band right here. That was on last Friday's closure. And as soon as that happens, targeting somewhere in that blue box, perhaps even the middle of the blue box, which is exactly where we're at right now, is fair game. Actually, I'll have an announcement for the Rev and Ribbons a little bit later, probably later today is what we're planning on. We're going to offer this up very specifically just to the quantum wave band users as of right now. But that will happen later today, and we'll see you'll see an announcement in the Quantum Wave Band Discord there on how to claim, and there'll be free trials and all that good stuff as well. We just kind of want to get some feedback early on this one, but I think as just a proof of concept, it's working quite well so far. But anyways, back to Bitcoins here, back to just looking at some traditional markets. I do want to see what's going on in the comment section as well. We got Borrow. What's up, man? Crown is a Finnish beast. I'm actually not. I'm actually not for many reasons. Let me explain. For one, no longer in Finland. For two, for some reason, I really can't figure out why, but I continue to lose weight. I was at, I don't know, like 81, 82 kilos, I don't know, more than like maybe 2 months ago, two or 3 months ago. And for whatever reason, I just continue to lose weight no matter what I do. I eat like a fucking crazy madman. I swear I'm getting well over 3,000 calories. This must be close to 3,500. But absolutely over 3,000 calories. And for whatever reason, I just continue to drop weight. And now I'm at like 74 or 75 kilos. It's not good. It's not good. Like, what the fuck's going on, man? Is this what happens when you get older? You just lose all your weight and become a fucking just a relevant twig? I don't know. I guess maybe that's where I'm headed. It is what it is, man. Must be finished. This great white hype. What's up, man? What up, Nashville? Reppin'. How you doing? Nice and smeezy. Still talking kilos? Yeah, man. Still talking kilos. Actually, I've been in Europe for so long that I probably understand the metric system a little bit better now than our current system. But I'm slowly getting back into pounds. I think that went from like maybe 176 pounds to like 165. So about a 10-pound loss in a relatively short amount of time, man. Not good in my opinion. Back to 100,000 for January, says Patrick Ocean. Yeah, I still think that that's very possible here. I think somewhere around 100,000, give or take a few $1,000 from that number is fair game. Probably on the upper end of that. I do think that Bitcoin's going to at least get to about 99,000 bucks on this rally. And then the real question is, does Bitcoin actually flip around anything that actually matters? Again, the thing that matters here is the same thing as before. If Bitcoin can very importantly reclaim this exact red circle area right here, which is 107.5 on spot price action, you're going to hear me turn into like a massive fucking obnoxious bull. And there are some good signals in the background that suggest that this is a possibility from here. But personally, I'm still looking at this as likely a bull trap rally, but a bull trap rally that's going to very likely go, decently higher than where we're at right now. So very tradable, very rideable. And hey, if things do flip around, I'm very much open-minded to that. But of course, if I see anything resembling a rejection, below that 107.5 number, then you're going to hear me be an obnoxious bear, I guess, or, people just generally don't really like when you talk about downside price action. But hey, stats are stats at the end of the day, and for right now, Bitcoin is significantly more likely to move to the upside. I mean, we've already seen, a good portion of this move play out. I mean, shit, we were talking about this back down at low $80,000 territory about a month and a half ago, and realistically, Bitcoin's just been grinding its way up and to the right from then. It's just been very slow and very boring, which is characteristic of kind of where we're at in the grand scheme of things right now, unfortunately. And again, just a reminder that Bitcoin's just, it's just no longer like the hot thing. It's no longer the interesting thing that, the general public is interested in, unfortunately. Speaking of, we should go over to traditional markets. That's where all the fun is being had as of right now. And what do you know? SPY futures putting in yet another higher low, trading back above the high of last Friday's, high is what I mean to say. And it does look like we have another developing higher low right here. The price action pivot is starting to shift over, as you can see, to Friday's low. That'd be 68, 66, and 75 cents. So basically, as long as we're above there, this is objectively the next higher low in a series of higher lows in a breakout to the upside, producing new all-time highs. And I do expect this one to continue to move upwards and onwards. Again, a general area of interest on this rally is about 7,300. That might take a few weeks to really occur, maybe even more than a month. But, ultimately looking somewhere around there. Here's our weekly as well. Continues to remain above all major moving averages. So can't hate that, of course. And this effectively is a trend in motion. So on yesterday's video, while I did outline the possibility of a potential pullback here, that is not looking like it's what it's going to do. This one wants to move to the upside from here. So the overall bullish bias is correct. And we didn't really get the short-term reversal confirmation, which would be coming back down below basically last Friday's low. But that will now be set in there for the future. So again, I could say the same thing here, that if SPY futures do come back down below last Friday's low, I would be looking at this as a short-term and medium-term reversal with, downside price action back to the 6,700 numbers or something like that. But for now, this thing is just taking up upwards and onwards. Again, don't need to make it any more complicated than just looking at the goddamn trend. And the goddamn trend can be your friend if you just let it be. Just hold hands with your friends, hold your dicks as well, and just ride it. Just ride it, and don't try to outthink these things too much, especially if you're holding these things for the long term. When you're looking at the major indices like SPY, like NASDAQ, these sort of things, don't get too cute with it. In my experience, is the name of the game. If you want to get cute with things, I don't know, get cute with the singular stocks. But in my opinion, generally, I don't really want to be holding those for the long term because there is turnaround, there are cycles and whatnot. And these ETFs, I think, is better to kind of store money in more long term. Of course, it's not going to be optimal. It's not going to give you the biggest returns, obviously, but it will be relatively simple, relatively easy, relatively safe for the long term without much thought being put into it. And the thought then can be more focused towards generating income from trading singular stocks, singular cryptos, Bitcoins, whatever the fuck you want to trade. That's kind of where I'm at right now in the bigger picture of what I'm doing between trading and investing. It's like I trade for income, then I put that income into more long-term assets and just let it hopefully compound there. Not always compounding, of course, but we have been blessed with a general secular bull market for basically the eternity of my life so far. I mean, realistically, when you zoom out on the higher term timeframes here, you don't have to be a fucking genius to be riding this one to the upside. I mean, basically the last time we saw a real bear market was in 2001 to 2008. But from there, it's been straight to the upside, and any sort of intermediary pullback has been relatively painless. I know that that's not easy to say for everyone, but even the most nasty of pullbacks that we saw over the past 20 years now was about a 27% pullback crash. Basically, that was of course your 2022 bear market. And realistically, if you're accustomed to crypto, that's not much to you. That's not much to you. And again, it's just a higher low here. Didn't even really get tested on any sort of a real reversal with lower lows and lower highs. If we zoom out to the higher term timeframes, like it was in 2001 to 2008, that was a more trying and testing time, much more difficult. But going over to NASDAQ futures, same thing here as well, just not as strong as SPY. But I do suspect that if SPY is continuing with this breakout, we will see NASDAQ follow as well. The question is, does it follow sooner or later? And in this case, reclaiming that 5 EMA on the weekly timeframes, obviously a good sign. Daily timeframe, we kind of look at this exact same analysis here as we just outlined on SPY futures, which is last Friday's lows, good pivot on the market, meaning that if it does come back down below last Friday's low of 25,265 and a quarter, Yeah, I'd be looking at this as a short-term reversal with, probably revisiting back down below 25,000 bucks, something like that, and just reassessing then. But for right now, this one does still hold the same highs ever since when? Since November, early November of 2025, and we do have rising bottoms over here. So the buys is on an upside breakout. The question is more so when, and of course, the level to more or less effectively confirm the breakout is the same as before as well. We went over this in yesterday's video, which is about 25,900 on a weekly time frame closure. By the way, I completely forgot to mention it, but now that we are here, I should let you know that we got a sale going on for the beginning of 2026. It's a new year. It's a new year and a new sale. The code for 20% off of any one of the programs or services in the teachable link description below is 2026, like literally 2026. You can use that for 20% off of literally anything. It doesn't matter if it's a payment plan or a monthly subscription or just a one-time payment type sort of thing. And it also does include literally everything, even the LTI, which the LTI, if you didn't get notice on last night's shorts video, is now going to be combined with the Pesto Fear Index. I've been calling it the Pesto Fear Index, but technically it's a Pesto Fear and Greed Index. I think if you're going to use this for greed, you really need to attune this in a particular way. Right now, I've attuned more towards the fear readings because that's been more relevant in recent times. But these two are now going to come together. The price has not changed, although I will let you know at the end of this month, at the end of January, we will raise the price by 50 bucks. But for right now, you can get it at the lower price plus the discount. Blah 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 blah. You get it. And of course, I do include my own settings for this as well. So if you want to copy my macro Bitcoin buyer settings or my my more aggressive Bitcoin buying settings as well for general bull trends, you can do that. And also I do include the settings for this setup as well with the Fear and Greed Index by Pesto. And again, this Fear and Greed Index is a little bit different than the majority of Fear and Greed Indexes that you typically see. This one's based off of statistics and whatnot, and also technical signals, some things that I look at as more objective. Generally, Fear and Greed Indexes are based off of, trying to sparse through social media posts on Twitter, Reddit, YouTube, just anything really. And in my opinion, they're just not that useful. That's why you don't really see me focus on them that much. But in this case, I think that we found a good mathematical formula to represent that in real time. And more importantly, the results speak for themselves. So in this case, I actually kind of do have it slightly attuned to the greedy areas, but not perfect. I'd really need to go back and retool that. And that'll be a job for me to do over the next month or two. But for right now, I want to explain this setup because it's a very important setup and it's playing out right now. It's what's been giving us this bias towards this bounce ever since Bitcoin got into the, that lower block and low $80,000 territory, which is extreme fear reads, as we can see right here below 25, coupled with a weekly stochastic momentum fresh cross the upside. So both of those things need to be simultaneously true. That has led towards all of these amazing bounces that we've seen throughout the full history of Bitcoin. Some bounces even coming within the context of like very, very nasty, very, very ugly bear markets. Let me just make sure that I actually got the right settings on this one right now. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Okay. We got that. All right. Beautiful. Yeah. And you can see these green vertical bars again, getting some pretty amazing higher lows also within the context of the long-term trend. I mean, some of these positions are the positions that you can just hold for months or years, or I mean, shit, if you get these macro lows, then obviously that could be for forever technically if you really wanted. But even then, when we do see these signals fire off in a general bear market, like we saw in 2022, there was a pretty sizable move to the upside on this bounce here. So I do want to acknowledge that because, again, those, in my opinion, are tradable. Those are double-digit percent moves. And as it stands right now, we have seen from this signal given to current price only it sounds so bad, but only about a 7% move to the upside from that initial entry, which technically was officially about 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago on the last week. Was this the last week? Sorry, the second to last week of December right there. So that has been giving the upside buys here. And again, if this thing goes for double digits, which I think it very likely will, 10% puts you where about 96,000 bucks. Even that's on the lower end for all of the prior iterations we've seen, at least, I think around 15% or more. 15%, by the way, puts you at about 101,000 US dollars. So I do think Bitcoin is likely to try some general upside here. It may even reverse, but for me, that line in the sand is still 107,500. I think price action up to that number is completely fair game. 103, 104 is particularly interesting in my opinion. But I won't switch around my long-term view until Bitcoin's closing above that number. But for right now, again, I am looking for this thing to rally. Same thing with the Rev and Ribbons over here. If it does want to take another leg up in the short term, the next obvious area of interest is going to be 95,500. But you are kind of at an interim area of interest right now for that short-term move based off of the reclaiming of the midline right already here. So, that easy portion of the move has already been had, obviously, but this will update on the next daily closure, of course. Moving on from there, I did want to get back into a pretty simple setup as well. A pretty simple setup here as well. Okay, I might need to actually, let's actually redo this chart so we can just focus on this. But it's a super simple setup, actually. Basically, it's bad, but it's good. Or it's good, but it's ultimately not so good, at least historically. So give me one moment to sip on this caffeine, then we'll get into it. All right. Okay, so here is a setup that I'm kind of speaking about, and it is on the bi-weekly time frame, so the 2-week time frame right here. And anytime that Bitcoin is entered into a bull market and then first come down to this green moving average, which is a 55 EMA, it has had a very, very repeatable pattern over the full history of time. The last time we saw this happen was, of course, back in 2022. That was effectively the same sort of setup that we just looked at on the Fear and Greed Index as well, where Bitcoin comes off the highs down to the 55 for that first for that first touch in the 2022 cycle. And then Bitcoin rallied up significantly, at least to the green, not to the green, but to the yellow moving average, which is a 21 EMA. And in this case, actually slightly above it, above it by about a few percent, I would imagine. Let me just double check. Yeah, about somewhere around 5%, let's say. From low to high, that was a 46% rally, which is, dare I say, very significant. But it did ultimately fail. Again, it did ultimately fail. So I do want to highlight that portion as well, which is why I am personally biased towards this being a bull trap, but the rally likely goes higher first. Same thing over here, even in 2019, actually, leading into the Rona dump. You can see Bitcoin basing off of that same green 55 EMA. Bitcoin rallies up well above, in this case, the yellow moving average. In this case, it goes about 28% almost above the yellow moving average, so a lot. And then, crashes below, not so long after that in the Rona dump, of course. Inevitably going lower. Now, ultimately, that was a major opportunity, but in the moment, that's not a position that you necessarily want to hold. 2018, I could certainly argue that this test over here was a test of the green 55 EMA. It's not perfect, obviously, but you still got that rally above the yellow 21 EMA. So the sort of pattern holds in this case. So I'd look at that as relevant as well. Again, rallying above the yellow 21. So the yellow 21 isn't just a minimum target. It should be under the minimum target. So we should see a rally above there. And then, of course, going back to 2014, first test into the green 55, wicks well below. It wicks well below and spends some time going sideways. But yes, does get a bounce above that yellow 21 EMA right here. Again, it does bounce higher than it as well. And then, of course, we go back to the first iteration. That was from 2011. You can see this first basing off right here. Bitcoin gets a nearly immediate rally back above the yellow 21. Yes, it does kind of come down after that. But, from there, it was basically just up only as far as we're concerned. So in this case, where is that yellow 21 EMA on the biweekly time frame? That is 98,722. So I would be looking for a rally likely above there. So personally, I'm just going to say $100,000. Maybe it tests this trend line. This price action pivot trend line extension at like 101, 102, something like this. I do think it's rather likely. So I personally do think that we will see above $100,000. But as soon as Bitcoin goes above $100,000, I personally will be a little bit on edge, because if I see something resembling a rejection, if I see something resembling an obvious rejection, that is at the point where I do expect something like the 2022 cycle to play out. That is our traditional bull trap. And at that point, what am I going to look to do as far as positions go? I'm going to go over here. I'm going to go, hey. That's not what I wanted to do. Where's my damn options? Okay, that screeners. Where? Wait, did they get rid of fucking oh my God. Fuck you, TradingView. Seriously, fuck you. So, why does TradingView have to be the most retarded program on all of the internet? Stop changing shit around, for fuck's sake. This is how the TradingView higher up meetings go. They go, hey guys, we have a great working product. How can we fuck it up as quickly as possible? I know. Let's just change around where everything is positioned. That's cool. That's a great idea. All right, I found it. Okay, look, I might have overreacted there a little bit, but that is the gist of what's going on with TradingView at their. Elsa's going to do a reclamation, whatever the hell that means. Fuck, I just spilled caffeine all over my I'm wearing a white shirt and I just spilled coffee all over it. Yes, I am a redact as well. I do understand this and I do accept this. But due to my redactedness, TradingView must work with me, not against me. So please stop moving shit around. Don't do that. What would an obvious rejection look like? It would look like a quick and clean reversal point in which you see Bitcoin. I mean, it depends where it happens first, but let's say it's going to come up to like 104, and then we see Bitcoin have a quick reversal back down below whatever the most recent higher low was before then. That would be your absolute confirmation of a quick reverse, or sorry, a confirmed reversal. Tentatively, that'd be like 98 or 99,000 bucks. So, you know, if you see Bitcoin head above 101, 102, 103, and then smash back down below, let's call it 98, that to me is going to be not good news for the Boolaws. Yeah, anyway, where was I? Yes. So here's what I would like to do if we get that rally and if I see the rejection that I'd be expecting to see around something like that. So first I'd go out to likely the January, I don't know, probably January 30th, even though usually I like to do the regulars, so that'd actually be the 16th, but that just seems too soon. I think that this move might take some time to play out. So it's probably going to end up being like the February regulars, you know, by the time we get there. But for now, just look at the January 30 expiration. And if we go over to the put strike, I'd go to, the January call strike. What I want to do is I want to sell like the 105 versus 110 call spread. Right now, they're actually starting to have some premium on them. You know, it's about a little over $1,000 is the theoretical price right now for the 105 strike. If Bitcoin gets up to like 102, 103, I expect this to explode to like 2,000 or 3,000. That's at the point where I'd love to sell these and maybe buy some of the, you know, 110 call strike just as a, as a nice spread to cover myself a little bit in case I'm wrong. Of course, there will be plenty of time to figure out if I'm wrong or not, just because, well, if Bitcoin rallies back above about 107.5, then that's my line in the sand. I will take that loss, assuming that it is a loss, and I don't know, tuck my tail between my legs and go the other direction, or just wait for the next trade. But again, you know, we had a really good, we sold a really good put spread in December. That one already printed full profit, so I'm very happy with that. I'm very, and like I said, I'm very content here to be waiting for the exact setup that I want. I'm not going to play position right here. I know some people are going to be a little more aggressive, maybe want to sell another put spread here. You can do it, but personally, I feel like I've already had that trade. I don't want to milk it again. I want to wait for the next most obvious one in position there. I mean, we had a great trade there, you know, just let it be. Take the money in your hand and run. Just run and wait. It's okay. It's like a game of poker where you can just wait for the most perfect of hands, and you know, you don't need to play any of the other ones in between. You don't need to force a hand here. That's kind of the analogy that I like to say, even though I don't really know much about poker, and perhaps that analogy completely falls through upon further analysis if you are more, I guess, professional poker player. But you get what I'm trying to say. You get the gist of what I'm trying to say. Much hate from Hateland, says Boris. Fuck yeah, man. Must be Eastern European or something like that. It is, of course, because her name is Boris. Boris, the most Eastern of Eastern European names. But good morning to you. What's up, Basti? Good New Year, fellow Redact. Good New Year indeed. Again, if you are just joining, I should let you know that we got a sale going on for the year 2026. The code is 2026. You can get 20% off of any of the programs or services in the teachable link in the description below. Runs for the next week. Anyways, blackjack is easier, says Baru. Maybe it is, maybe it ain't. I guess you can, I don't know if you can apply the same analogy here. I don't know. I just don't know it that well. It's actually really funny. I just found out that my brother-in-law's mother, who's like this very unassuming, very, you know, petite, older woman, is like a real professional poker player. And she goes to these, she plays these poker tournaments, and it must be so funny when she gets in there because, you know, usually poker players, it's like some fucking redneck looking dude with glasses on. And, you know, he's like a big fellow and he's got probably like a beer in his hand, something like that. Like I have a clear mental picture of this guy. And then she walks in just like, it's like a very nice woman, you know, and then she probably fucking kicks her ass, man. She really understands it. It's really interesting speaking with her. Actually, my name is Boris. Yes, many Borises. We have many Borises here. Many Eastern Europeans, many Russians as well. It's all good. Yeah, Caretaker says classic TradingView rage. I just fucking I really despise them, man. Like, and all of the PineScript stuff as well. The PineScript shit from before, it wasn't perfect, but it was working. Now it's like they switch around where you need to do it. They Elsa says it's gay. In fact, I don't know if TradingView likes other male trading views, but I can tell you that it is very interesting. Whatever the hell is going on in their design discussions, like stop changing shit. Fuck's sake, just stop it, okay? Stop it. Just stop it. You don't need to do it. You don't need to do it. It's working well. Jabruso says 5-day 5 EMA will trigger at close tonight. Ooh, really good call out right there. I actually did not even check this one myself. Let's bring it up on the Quant Prime service. 5-day, I have it already set up right here, of course. And let's see, okay, maybe not on Gemini, although... am I getting too cute with my Gemini? I still think that Gemini goes lower, so I will wait on that one. Yeah, you are 100% right, man. You are 100% right, 1,000% right. It is going to reclaim it today, assuming Bitcoin just finishes the day above 90,236. Let me just make sure I got the exact right settings here. Yep, okay, 5 EMA right there. Yeah, okay, yeah, we are... Hold on. No, I'm doing something different here because it's taking profit very quickly. What's that all about? Hold on. Let's figure out what the fuck's going on here because that doesn't look perfect. What do I have on my settings here? Oh, okay, that's why. Yeah, I updated something in that, got rid of it. Let me see what my moving average crosses are. It's just the MA1. Yeah, okay, it's just MA1. Yep. All right, simple enough. Yeah, perhaps the most simplest of strategies to set up on the Quant Prime service. Also, funnily enough, one of the most effective ones too, which I don't know. It's crazy, man. Okay, we actually need the cross. Okay, we need price. Fuck, how did I do this before? God, I'm like losing it because it's not gonna be this. If the close is just above that, then it's gonna open every time. Price is actually above that, and that's not what we actually want. If close is less than the 5 EMA, we will exit. So that'll actually work there. I think we need crossover. Let's see if this works. Okay, actually, it's already working as intended. Okay, I think that's probably okay. Let's see what the strategy tester looks like. Yeah, that looks about right. They also changed this around too. Like, okay, this actually is kind of helpful here. I will say that actually is kind of helpful. All right, I take a little bit of that back, TradingView. All right, I take a little bit of it back. Yeah, it is potential to be one of those. Certainly one of those entries. I do want to get rid of a lot of this earlier data here, though. So let's curtail the testing period. We can do that through the Quant Prime as well. And let's see, because I forgot the exact statistics associated with this one. Fuck, what was I just about to? Yes, okay, we got our dates right here. Oh, and I am using the date range. Okay, so we're going from 2016. So about 10 years, But what kind of sets me off here is that in 2016 and 2017, I mean, these gains were just so fucking crazy. Don't know if I want to include all of those. I mean, it's still been the same sort of stepping up behavior since then, but it's certainly not as much, as you can see. A little bit more balance there. So I'm actually going to move that to 2017. Let's start this at 2017. See what happens then. All right, there she goes. Yeah, I mean, still going to have that big boost up right there, but that is kind of consistent. I mean, we saw the same thing in 2021 as well, and then to a lesser extent in 2023, although overall, the advance of the profit from cycle beginning to the cycle end is actually very consistent. So that is a good sign. Anyways, let's go into the actual data of this one, go back into here. Trade analysis, they changed this around too, but as far as the average winning trade, about 37.25%, and the average losing trade about 5.25%. What I think stands out about this a lot is the average amount of bars in losing trades, which is only 2. So basically, if this setup is going to fail, we expect it to fail quickly. Like basically within 10 days from the end of today, on average, and we would expect a loss of about 5%. So that would put us like basically back down below about 88,000 bucks. Possible for sure, but that's another good line in the sand now, particular to Bitcoin. So what do I mean by that? I mean, you could effectively look at last week's low as a reversal point at this point now, which is about 88,000 bucks. Below there, yeah, this is going to be a failure, and we should be looking for the other direction likely to unfold. But for right now, if Bitcoin does, reclaim that number, it technically is a lower win rate strategy. I mean, any particular trade does have just above a 40.25% strike rate to close profitably. But when it does close profitably, it closes massively profitably generally. So, if it were to play out, I mean, that would be one thing on the, on the side of, of the bulls, because I mean, shit, like 37% from here puts Bitcoins on new all-time highs. And also, to be fair, and I think this actually really does deserve to be acknowledged here, is that we've seen 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 losses in a row on this strategy since Bitcoin put in its all-time high. I know that this is gambler's fallacy. I know that, yes, any one particular iteration does have a 40.25% strike rate to be a profitable trade. But I will say, in history, we really don't see this one fail that often. That many times in a row. In fact, I think the only time that's maybe comparable is 2022, where we saw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 failures in a row, and then a fucking astronomical gainer right there. Other than that, I think it's always been below that. So, actually 2018 is probably gonna be pretty bad as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 8 losses in a row. So we are probably getting towards an extreme there is what I'm trying to say. Like, we're getting towards extreme. But, if you've seen like the maximum failures in a row is about 6, then, and we've already seen 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. I mean, is this next one a little more likely to be a gainer? Technically, no, but I would also say in practice, I do see that work out somewhat often. So, take it with a grain of salt, I suppose. But in practice, I actually do see things kind of operate like that, even though it is your like basic example of gambler's fallacy, which is 100% mathematically true. It's just, in practice, I see the other thing. I see the other side. When you start to get to like those maximum areas, you should generally be looking for something else to happen. Just my experience. That's all. Anyways, one moment. Amazing. Fucking amazing. Anyways, where was I? Just reading through some of these comments, man. I feel like I'm reading some of these conversations out of context, and it sounds really funny. Henny says 115,000 LFG. Let's fucking go. Or is it looking for group? I don't know. Who is group? Is there anything else I want to speak about before we move through here? Probably not. Let's go into some shitcoins analysis. We got David Reynolds first. He's looking at CAE on NYSE and starting this one off with a nice stonker. Don't think I've seen this one myself before, but so far so good. Let's go to a monthly. Also quite good as well. This one's back towards basically its all-time highs. The weekly looks like it's on a fresh breakout and wants to continue up. So I'd probably look for this one to spike the prior all-time high. You probably see a bit of a pullback there, on the first pass. But overall, this to me looks like a quite constructive consolidation. You see a few higher lows going back to 2020. You got one right here, one right here, one right here, one right here, and you're back around those same highs. The bias has to be on an upside breakout. So does it do it exactly from here? Does it spend a month or two pulling back after retesting the all-time high? I don't know about that, but I would be expecting just general continuation to new highs for this asset. If you are on the higher term time frames, if you're on the weekly, yeah, I think that you're going to spike this high officially. Probably a bit of a pullback from there, and then continuation after that. Overall, very strong chart. And has spent the last 5 years consolidating. And in my opinion, I think this one's just about to freshly break out. So yeah, quite good indeed. And we've got William Kiefer next. He's looking at XRP on the daily and weekly. Okay, starting off good, ending maybe not so good, but I thought I was going crazy. I thought I might be going crazy, calling for a bounce off of 180 to well above two. I think I said 220 to 2.25 minimum. We finally got it. Is the bounce in the room with us right now? Apparently it is. I don't feel that confident that this one's going to bounce like as high as I once initially thought to like $2.50. The reason why I say that is because you're already seeing significantly high daily RSI readings here than the highs going back to like even November. So that will be potential for hidden bearish divergence along the way. But for right now, I do think it still goes a little bit higher, at least probably towards 233, 235 region. Priorly, I was suggesting 240 to 250 on a bounce. But now I would adjust that a little bit down to about let's just call it 235. It's not that much lower, but yeah, it is lower. And I would be expecting a bounce at least to there on this current move. Could it be that it does put in a low here and rallies up? Yeah, sure. But again, I think it's just easier to watch Bitcoin right now. If Bitcoin's back above 107.5, hey, I'm happy to be bullish on just about everything else. I mean, to varying degrees, obviously, but Ripple would probably do decently in that scenario. But as it stands right now, I expect it to kind of just follow whatever Bitcoin's doing, not necessarily stronger nor weaker, just following Bitcoin more or less. So if Bitcoin goes up more and actually starts to reclaim some of those critical regions, this thing should as well. But for right now, yeah, I'd adjust the target down a little bit from let's just call it 2.5 to 235 as like the high probability move. Come back to it after that, man. We got Steven Jimmer. What's up, man? Mr. Schickman, how good to see you. How good to see you, sir. MSTZ. Carl, how good to see you. Does anyone even know where that's from? I mean, you probably do. You just don't know that 2-second clip from a very famous, very well done, very legendary Adam Sandler movie. Bill Norblatt says, worst part about trying to make a living playing poker is that you can be 98% chance to win and you can still end up taking it in the ass. True, but the thing is that if you do have a 98% like winning hand, I guess, again, this is coming from someone who doesn't really play poker, I would imagine that if you just repeat that setup over time, then yes, you will be successful. But on any one particular hand, yeah, you can still lose, of course, just like a trade. You might have a trade that has like or a strategy that has like an 80% strike rate. Doesn't mean that every trade is going to be a winner, obviously not. But if we, average out the trades over, 500 to 1,000 iterations, then yeah, it's probably going to settle somewhere in there. Just like dating women. Yes, Billy fucking Madison, man. Elsa, did we watch Billy Madison together? Oh my God. I think we did. It's the one where he goes back to kindergarten and he pees his pants. Do you remember that? And Chris Farley's in it, the guy from Beverly Hills Ninja. Beverly Hills Ninja, also very good movie. It's Elsa. Is it Elsa approved? Yes. It's Elsa approved. Anyways, MSTZ. Yeah, so, I mean, if Bitcoin's rallying here, you got to be looking for this guy to pull back. I mean, this is still objectively bull. I mean, God, I hate these fucking inverse 2x or just 2x bull, 2x bear type shit. They just trade weirdly. I actually do think it rallies a little bit from here to like 15.5, but I would be looking for a pullback after that. I do think that this one will pull back further, and I believe that we said the same thing last week, at the end of last week, somewhere down around about 13 to 12.5. But I think short term, you see a slight rally here to reconnect around 15.5, then come back down. That accompanies a Bitcoin rally to the upside, obviously, and then we come back to it after that. So, I mean, if you see this thing put in a higher load around like $12.5, that would also be kind of a bad signal for Bitcoin in theory. So, yeah, basically what I think is going to happen is something like this. Boom, come down here, and then hopefully, for the bear's sake, it does something like this. So, yeah. We shall see. We shall see indeed. Fyodor says, ZEC is a pullback done. Can we moon? I don't know. What time frame, sir? No time frames given, so I'm just going to make it up. Is the pullback done? I would not say so on the daily nor the weekly. I think that this one's going to pull back actually a lot more towards like 410, 420, something like that. Long term, I'm really not sure, man. I'm really not sure. Objectively, this is kind of a breakout here, but I don't trust it personally. I think this one probably does end up failing, to be honest with you. But maybe I'm just being dogmatic about this. Either which way, though, I do think you will have a sizable pullback in this quarter, and I do think you will come down somewhere around 400, whether that's like 420 on the upper end or whether that's 380 on the lower end. I don't fucking know, but I do think that this one does come lower. This one's just ranging right now. I mean, shit, you only need a couple of lines here, a couple of magical lines, a couple of magical lines, or you just use a price action pivots indicator. But there's your top side of the range. There's the bottom side of your range. You just rejected the top side. upside, probably going to come at least to the middle at 420. If you lose 420, then yeah, I think you come all the way down to the, close to the bottom side of the range, something like that. Not necessarily bearish though. I mean, that could still be bullish more long term, but does imply that we will see a pullback in the more short term, which is, I mean, that's a sizable move. That's like a 20 to maybe as much as a 35% move. So yeah. Anyways, 1236 N says Oklo on the weekly, please. Oh God, is this some sort of name? No, it's a real stonk. Oh God, it's close. It's a close one. Quarterly, already looking at this, and I mean, there's not a ton of history here, so I'm not making much out of much, but that is one massive selling higher term time frame dildo. So typically not good. Short term, you are coming off of the daily 200 simple, so I do expect this one to rally more in the short term. So I do think you will get back up to like 96 or maybe 100, maybe even $100 again. And then I want to come back to it after that. I don't really want to be full on bullish on this one or full on bearish on this one. I think it's ranging for now. In the short term, it's going to show some upside to like I said, somewhere between 95 to 100, and then I want to come back to it after that. I guess you can kind of look at it as long-term bullish as long as you're above last week's low, which is 70.86. Second that you come back down below there, I would call a macro reversal on this thing and, send it back down below $50 or whatever. But for now, short-term upside, come back to it after that. Don't think that this thing's going to be doing anything of real interest anytime soon, just to put it very bluntly. So, yeah. And then he's back again with GEV. GEV on the weekly and monthly. Okay, got it. Seems like it's probably another stonk. GE Verona. By the way, for the gun obsessed people in the world here, I love you. And also, can I have your recommendations for a full size AR-15 rifle? I had too much. We went to the gun range this week, man, being real, true Americans. It was great. My brother-in-law's brother has these fucking massive AR-15 pistols, and they just absolutely, I mean, God, man, you fire these things and they're just shaking the core of your bones. It's like it's a real experience. Anyways, the GEV overall good. I mean, overall, this is a very obvious uptrend. In the short term, do we see a pullback to like 630, 640, whatever? Maybe, but I don't think that that's super relevant here. I think overall this thing wants to go higher. The question is when, not it's less so if, it's more so when, for something like this. So, does it pull back first to like 630? Maybe it might just go straight to the upside from here. I mean, this is not bad. And our higher term time frame momentum oscillators are still conducive towards more upside overall. So I would look at any sort of a pullback to, 630, if it even happens, as an opportunity. And I would certainly not be bearish on this thing as long as you're above the November low, which is about 530. So long term, I do think that it is going more up, man. You're graduating. I'm loving it, man. I'm loving it. This is like the best part of being a fucking American, having a big old truck, some guns, and I don't know, just chilling. It's great. I fucking love it. Start with a Palmetto State Armory in 556. Okay, fair enough. Do a 14 and a half is going to be a short barrel rifle though, ain't it? I think I need to get a 16 in order to get it same day. So I was looking at some like the Daniel Defense option or the Knights Armory option, or I think I saw an LMT option. And there was also surprisingly a Springfield option that was getting high ratings, but it's difficult. I will tell you, gun tubers and crypto tubers, I don't know which one shills harder. I really don't know which one shills harder. I mean, these fucking gun tubers got fucking referrals out the asshole. I mean, it's just like ad after ad after ad, which is undisclosed. I don't think it's much better than the fucking crypto YouTube side of things. Hey, look, we're having a sale as well, so I'm shilling that, of course. But hey, full disclosure, it's a fucking sale. Like, it's my own business, obviously. So fair enough. Anyways. Daniel Defense AR-15 says Caretaker. I always got to trust Caretaker, and yeah, that one has come up a lot on my search. It's gotten a lot of high ratings and praise. I just want to make sure that I got some that's like fully reliable, some that I never have to really worry about all that much. Yeah, some more guns, man, some more guns. I already got, I bought a handgun, and like a week later I got another one just because, I don't know, man, it just becomes a collectible obsession, I guess. Anyways, let's see what else we got over here. Whoops, that is okay, we got Who Did God Did. Who Did God Did. All right, ICP. Oh God, man, you're really gonna need some prayers for this one, man. I can already tell you that. question from Who Did God Did? ICP, 1 day and weekly. Is it ready for a reversal? Yeah, totally. If you turn the chart upside down, it's ready to go more up, which is an amazing way to reverse the chart yourself. All you need to do to reverse any chart, just press Alt plus I. You too can have a bullish chart, even with the most shitty of shitty assets. Unfortunately, it means that you have to, well, I guess be on the other side of the trade. Is it ready for a reversal? No. Probably not. Probably not. Anyways, Steven Schickman is back. Says, Lunar, what's the next target from here? Daily, weekly. Full disclosure, I did buy Lunar. I did make an announcement on this as well, also in the Discord. So yes, I am biased on this one, but I saw exactly what I wanted to see on this thing with the quarterly closing above that last swing high at $14.5. I'm holding this position. I do think that it will test about $21 to $22. Probably sometime this quarter, at latest Q2 of this year. I think I might even be holding it for a longer time than that, because this to me it looks like it may very well be a macro reversal after a long form accumulation for the past 2 years, going back to 2023. In other words, I like it. I like what I'm seeing here. I think it probably trades above the 2025 high. In other words, I really do. So that's like an interim target, I guess. Do I think it's going to go higher? Yes. Do I know how high it's going to go? No, of course not. But I'm just going to be holding this one, playing the trend. So yeah, not bad. Not bad indeed. Okay. Did I skip anyone? No, we're good. All right, cool. One moment while I take some agua. Forget the AR and get an AK. Can you get an AK in the States? I do understand that the AKs are very, very reliable, but I don't think that they're very accurate. At least from my studies in Call of Duty, I can tell you that they are not the best, or at least I don't like using them as much. Slick133 says, GM, sir, what's up, man? Please check out BNB daily and weekly. All right, we have a crypto here that might have a decent chart. Let's see. Very similar to Bitcoin. This one actually, dare I say it, I mean, in a better position than Bitcoin as well, not coming down to as low of a relative point to Bitcoin when we look at the major moving averages here. I do think that this bounce has more to go. I do think that this thing will probably get back up to about $1,000. We do see hidden bullish evidence on the weekly time frame. And we do see what is yet another higher low here. So, I mean, BNB objectively does have a better chart than Bitcoin, but when I look at the quarterly, is this a reversal deal right here? It very well could be, but at the same time, I do think in the short and medium term, you will see a rally to about not $100,000, but $1,000 or a little bit above $1,000, retesting the open of last quarter. I think that you very likely, very, very high probability, will get to that rally. What happens from there is likely going to be attuned to whatever Bitcoin does. Does Bitcoin reject or not? If it doesn't, going to be bullish as fuck and probably even better than Bitcoin, to be fair, in terms of returns. If it does reject, well, you already know. Probably going to have a nice markdown and find its way to the lows at like $600 if that happens. But for now, I mean, this one, like I said, objectively better than Bitcoin right now. And short-term upside is very likely. Even the 10-day has hidden bullish evidence here. So I'd be looking above $1,000 on this rally. I really would. Let's read through some of these gun comments. I love these. My guilty pleasure right now. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, look, I'm happy to spend money on anything that is quality. If it's gonna last a very long time, I have no problem spending a lot of money on it. I do have a big problem spending a lot of money on things that do not last a long time. That's where I get very, very angry. But look, if it's good quality, I will always pay up, or almost always, I should say. Get an AR-10 if you want longer caliber. Haven't even seen that as a suggestion, but that is interesting. I'll have to look into that a little bit. I can get 3-inch groups at 100 yards with my AK. That's pretty fucking impressive. Jesus, man. AK more reliable, AR more likely to jam. Interesting. Okay. Very interesting. I would have always thought that the American-made rifles are probably better, but I don't know if people really like AKs more. I mean, I guess it kind of speaks for itself, doesn't it? Hey, Aidens, your super chat probably wasn't skipped. It just takes some time to get through to everyone. I can look through really quickly here. See if you're on the list. Yeah, I do see you on the list, man, but you still got, there's a bunch of people in front of you, to be honest, man. So apologies, but yeah. I'm also taking up my own time just talking shit about guns as well. Daniel Defense is top of the line. So is Giselle. Yeah, my brother-in-law's brother recommended Giselle. Giselle has the best triggers. You can take parts. Yeah, that's what I hear. I mean, it's like building your own computer almost, which is pretty cool. Anyways, we'll move on before I get too lost in the sauce with this. BitF on TSX. Yeah, there's Bitfarms. But you want to look at it on Canadian exchanges. Usually we look at it on American exchanges. But anyways, I'll do as you asked, sir. Overall, I do think you're going to rally here as well. Like most crypto-related things, got hidden bullish evidence on this last weekly higher low. It is a higher low on the 55 EMA as well. So give it a chance to rally. I think you at least get up to like $4.50, which is a phenomenal move from where you're at right now, percentage-wise. More than 10%. The real question is, does it actually reclaim anything of significance on this rally? And for that to happen, it need to reclaim very specifically the price action pivot right here. I just fucking love these price action pivots, man. It's already got exactly what I want to say queued up. Above $5. Say what? Okay. Above $5. That would be my confirmation that this thing is actually going to be heading back up towards that, $9, $10 high. Do I think that's going to happen from here? It doesn't really matter what I think is going to happen. I do think they got upside and you probably will test around that region, but need to see a close above there in order to confirm a breakout. To the bottom side, it's the low of December 15th at $3 almost, or 308 according to the price action pivots. Below there, yeah, to get bearish. But until then, look, this thing's a lot more likely to rally in the short term. Yeah, got some bullish divergence on a phantom drive right there too. So short term, try a rally. Try a rally with everyone else. Everyone gets rallies. You get a rally. We get a rally. He gets a rally. We all get a rally. One moment. Let me get another sip of this water. McDonald's House says XMR on the 5-day. Gotcha, man. Yeah, Monero is probably the more interesting privacy coin out of the bunch here. Let's go. I know you said 5-day, but I need to go very high for this one. How did it finish out the year? Man, they always fucking do this, If this thing would have closed above 470, easy bull call. Easy bull call. I still think that this thing will have a shot to the upside, but similar to Zcash, I think that you will, in the short term, have a downside move first. Probably reconnect closer to that red 5 EMA. That could be somewhere around like 380 to 400 even, and then try an upside move. But yeah, I mean, right here, you do have 1, 2, 3 drives of bearish divergence on these last few highs. I think that you do pull back in the short term a little bit. But looking at the higher term timeframes, I actually do think that this thing will get one more shot to the upside and should retest all-time highs. I just think it's down first and then try an upside. Yeah, again, yearly here, like this is objectively good. It's just, I do think that it will come down first. Might even come as low as like 350. 350. Yeah, something like that, man. Yeah, I just think you come down a little bit from here, unfortunately. First, Freddie M says CLSK, could it get back to $20 on this pump? I mean, God, these questions are always funny. Could it get back to $20 on this exact pump? I doubt it. Personally, I do think that you go higher from here. I think that you might get up to like 14.5 to $15. But that's just not a target for me until it reclaims 15.5. At that point, 20 isn't even relevant. It's going to go all the way up to like 23, 24, 25, probably break out from there if that happens. I personally don't think that that's what's going to happen here. I think this thing continues to range more. But short-term upside, you got some hidden bullish evidence, 1, 2, 3 drives here on the 5-day time frame. So yeah, short-term it does probably try the top side of this range, but I have my doubts that it breaks out as of right now. And if it does, I don't even think $20 matters. I think you go higher. I think you're going another like 20% higher than that, at least. I mean, shit, it might just break out from there too. It's very possible. Crypto Shart 5872 says, your channel gave me 10 Durangus. Nice.
Monster kill.
Syrup on the daily and weekly. Don't know how much of a weekly this thing has, but I do recall it from many moons ago. To be fair, I mean, this is a pretty good rally here, but you are objectively still in a downtrend. And in order to confirm an actual uptrend reversal, realistically, you need to get back above 50 cents. That's where you could actually get like full on bullish. In the short term, the price action pivots indicator is marking this off as a falling wedge in this case, which typically do resolve to the upside. But even if you play it like that, we need to see it close above about 40 cents on a weekly time frame to confirm a breakout here. And technically, the target would be 60 cents. I like to play these ones a lot more conservatively if I play them at all. So I like to take the last lower high, which is 50 cents. And at that point, you're probably just going to make new highs if you reclaim that number. But as it stands at the moment, if we go down to a daily, I think that you probably talked about before then, to be honest. Somewhere between here and about 41 cents, something like that. Like, I'll just put a nice little red circle here. Because why do I say that? Because you already see that there is some bearish divergence developing here. It's not anything super crazy, but it is developing already, which is not the best sign for this rally. And being that it is just like a random shitcoin, I'm a lot more inclined to say that this rally will fail. So while I do think it might go a little bit higher, I would be very cognizant that it probably puts in a lower high right here. So if you see a rejection below the 200 simple at 41 cents, that would be basically my confirmation that, yeah, this thing is ready for lower. Like I said, things change around for me above 41 cents on a weekly closure, and absolutely above 50 cents. At that point, it's actually bullish. But one thing before the next, because I don't know, we don't really have a ton of history here. It's not terrible for the history that we do have. It's certainly better than most shitcoins, to be fair. So yeah, some more agua for your boy. It's your boy. Remember when that was like a trend on YouTube? Hey, what's up? It's your boy, Jake Paul. Like, what? Who the fuck talks like that? Like, if you start talking like that in front of, like, if someone just walks up to you in the street and is like, hey, how's it going? Hey, guys, how's it going? You'd be like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy? Yeah. Anyways, LMT1WP says, morning crown, what's up, man? Ray Dalio is currently supporting investment in real assets and not financial assets. Would you please elaborate? Maybe a weekend long-term video on this? Could be a good video for me to do. I would need to really do my own research to make sure that I understand his disposition extremely well. But I believe what he probably means about that is he's talking about real assets in the sense of commodities, real estate, these sort of things, tangible assets, basically commodities, and metals, of course, as well. And financial assets, of course, what's that going to be? I mean, that's going to be your bonds. So avoid those. I 100% agree with that. Right now is not the time to be owning bonds, in my opinion. Short dated bonds, maybe yes. If it's just going to be a money market, those are pretty liquid, so it's not like a tremendous risk there. But I think I understand his general philosophy, and his general philosophy is that America is a declining empire, and sometime between now and the next 50 or 100 years, it's going to enter into a very tumultuous position in which historically, when countries have entered that, the people who get fucked, the assets that get fucked, are those financial assets like bonds. Basically, anyone who borrows money, anyone who is lending money gets fucked. Why? Because typically inflation or hyperinflation happens. And so if hyperinflation happens and you take out a loan, or if you take out a loan before hyperinflation happens, then what happens to your loan? Well, it actually becomes very easy to pay back. It's almost as if you get kind of forgiven for your loan because the inflation is so high that it just doesn't even, it's like what's $1 worth 100 years ago versus now. I mean, that's kind of my point. Like, if you were to have a loan for that, it's just basically, who gives a fuck? I mean, $1 now, almost everyone has that. So my point is that as inflation goes higher, the people who are lending, they get fucked more. And the people who are borrowing, they kind of get a bailout in a way, because the value that they have to pay back is objectively lower due to that inflation. So that's what I think he probably means. So basically avoid giving out loans. So avoid buying government bonds, things like that. And I agree with that just in general. The returns from that are just objectively not very good. So yeah. When the trust goes, the currency goes with it. Yeah, true, I guess. Will VeChain recover? This question has been asked a million times over the past, 7 or 8 years. Sure, it's going to definitely recover. Anyways, sorry, man. Couldn't help myself. Davad Devoka says, INTC, again, full disclosure, I do own this one as well. I own it because, well, I generally like it, and I love their product, most importantly, and I own it for much, much lower as well. Okay. Monthly starting to look quite good here because it is putting in a consolidation above all major moving averages, but it's going to take some time, I think, for it to really set in a base. So I don't think it's going to be doing anything super interesting actually in the short term. I think basically the highs of the last quarter at like 44, 45 bucks are going to be your range highs for a while. And this thing probably does try some downside moves this quarter to like 35, 30, 35 or 34 bucks. But I do think that it is in a healthy consolidation. I just think it takes some time here and then tries an upside move. I think ultimately this thing will resolve to the upside. It will test $51, probably exceeding it, probably going back to the prior highs back up here. But that can take, I mean, look, man, that's probably going to take multiple years. If you're in the short term, that's probably not relevant at all. In the short term, I mean, technically you got an upturn right here. Your last higher low is $35. So as long as you're above 35 bucks, in a strong position should follow through to the upside. Short term, we are getting some technical upside signals as well. So, I'd be looking for it to test the top side, perhaps of this range first at like 43, 44 bucks. Do I think it's going to break out from there on this next test? Personally, no, I don't think that it does. The reason why I say that is because the monthly volatility is already at extreme levels. So I just don't think that that's it's just not as likely to be conducive towards a real breakout. Weekly time frame, same thing over here, hidden bullish divergence. So, probably does test the top side of the range. I just don't think it has the juice to bust. The juice to bust. Doesn't have the busting juice just yet. Anyways, Aidens. Now we're at you, Mr. Aidens. I hope you stuck around. Zeta breakout now or pullback then higher. Oh god, it's a fucking shitcoin too, isn't it? Oh no, it's a real stock. No. Oh. No, it's Zeta Chain. Wait. I really hope it's a stonk. It probably more so the stonk if you're asking about breakout, because the other thing is it doesn't even know what a breakout is. Do I think it's going to break out from here? I think this one actually does have a real potential to break out from here. Contrary to the Intel chart, this one's a little bit more conducive towards a push to the upside here. I like the higher low on November. Monthly crown oscillator is about to turn up freshly, and volatility isn't anything extreme right now, and weekly time frame is already at the top side of your range. I would say you got to confirm. Yes, I'm there. I would say that you got to confirm breakout with a weekly closure above 22.32. And I do think that will happen. This is obviously a higher low right here. It's a bullish bias as long as you're above basically the December lows. Yeah, personally, I think that it will push through here. I do think that you're going to see this thing trade up towards 30 bucks. So yeah. So breakout now. I actually do think this one has a pretty good chance to do it right here. If it is going to pull back, you'll know. You'll have a very early warning if it just trades below today's low, basically. Below today's low, I'd call a short-term reversal and a pullback first, but I think that this one's actually in a strong position to do it from here. So yeah, Zeta Stonk. Do you think the U.S. would increase its stake in Intel if it became more important to national security? I don't know. I really don't know. Trying to guess what this administration is trying to do is basically impossible. And that's probably for a good reason. I mean, you don't, I think when it comes to markets, you probably do want it to be pretty obvious what they want to do. I don't know, man. You're asking me to speculate on something that I really have no insider information on. So I'm just guessing. So I'm not going to give an answer because I don't have a good answer, man. Pizza says, hey Crown, XRP please. We already went over it. Yeah, I do think that it'll go to about 235 at least. Possible for $2.5, but I think that requires Bitcoin to really break out in a strong way here. And possible, but I would say I have to adjust that target down to 235 as like the high probability target. Andrew Plus says, can we look at Cope X? I'm looking to possibly take a position. Famous last words. Cope X. Great name. I don't see this ticker on TradingView, my good man. Yeah. I don't see this ticker on TradingView, so it's probably very early, I'm guessing, or maybe it's just that shitty that it's not even on TradingView. Either is probably not the best sign. So yeah, man, sorry. Unless you got a different ticker, I unfortunately can't look at that one. Great White Hype says Sats on the daily and weekly. Okay. I'm guessing it's this. Sats, EchoStar Corporation. Very good. I think we've looked at this one before. Yeah, and it's been quite good. I'd be aware that at some point in this quarter, you're probably going to see a pullback below $100, but I think it's still overall good, overall bullish. I mean, this is a really strong move here, of course. You are starting to see extremes on volatility on the monthly time frame. So while I do think it has new highs to go, I don't think it's going to be like that much more before you go into another consolidation. And in the short term, I personally think that this thing will actually, well, It's got a really weird looking chart here in the short term. Actually, in the short term, no, I do think that I think it tries up first and then down later. I actually do think it's going to be up first and then down later. Just be aware that, this thing is pretty hot right now. So I really don't know how much more new highs this one has to go. Maybe another month or two of that, but I'd be very defensive that if you have been riding this thing, you've probably seen the overwhelming majority of the gains for this current run, and you're going to see a long form consolidation. I would think no later than Q2 of this year, maybe sooner than that as well. So yeah, something like that, man. Aaron says, "Good sir, what's up, man? We need Aave to reach above 206? Do we need it? No, maybe you need it, but that's on you, sir." Do we need to reach above 206 for what? For what? For what? I'm guessing you're referencing the price action pivot right here. Large lines played out quite well. Well, I do see what you're going off of, and reclaiming that is significant. And I do think you get another pretty sizable move up to like 250 to 260. I mean, these are pretty big percentage moves. So, I mean, that's like a 20 to 30% move right there. Is it going to confirm like a macro reversal here? No, I don't think so. And again, that would require it to close above 206. I do think that you will try some upside in the short term. Just 206 is still kind of far away for something like this that is really just a down only asset. But in the short term, do I think you're going to at least test like 180? Yeah. Do I think you might even go all the way up to like 190, 195? Yeah. But I'd put a very clean area of interest at 206. Sorry, it's actually 207. According to the price action pivot here, if you can reclaim that, I think that this run actually goes for like another 20 to 30% to the upside. But that's like the next major area of interest. I don't think it means bullish from there, like bullish to new highs. But I do think that you're going to get a pretty sizable move if that happens. Yeah, for sure. Hello, Mr. Biftable. We can perhaps do that a little bit later, but still got some super chats to work through. MG says AGQ. Got it. Okay, so this is an ETF for silver, I'm guessing. Excuse me. Yeah. Okay. Kind of strange here. Must be, is it like a silver mine or something? It doesn't look like the silver chart, so that's kind of strange. Look, I do think that this thing will trade higher at some point towards like 240 to 250, or sorry, maybe more like 230 to 240. And I think that does happen in between now and the midpoint of this year, probably sooner rather than later. Stops along the way, of course, but you got a really easy reversal point as well at last week's low. So I would actually have a bullish bias here in the short term as long as you remain above 150. Below 150, I do call a reversal back down to like 115 to 120. Again, big move right there. Still would be a higher low, but yeah, that is a sizable pullback, so I need to be aware of that. Until then, I actually do think that this thing tries some upside and, maybe 240-ish, something like that. Not terrible. I mean, the breakout is real, and silver is kind of a hot thing right now too, but I'd be very aware that around 240 to 250, I'd be looking for a big pullback. My throat's starting to fail me a little bit. All right, let's see. How deep into this bitch are we? Okay, still got time. Aaron's back, says hates from Iran. Sir, also your opinion about total 3 respecting to trend line all the way from bottom. Okay, let's go to that chart first, and then I'll try to replicate what you're saying. Okay, all right, I got something resembling a chart here. Nice, LARP line's playing out there too. Good. Okay, but you are talking about something very specifically, respecting the trend line all the way from bottom October of 2023. Okay, I'm guessing that's around, yeah, here. All right, so you're doing one of these. Yeah, I mean, technically it is respecting that, or I guess the price action pivot's a little bit, the trend line extension from the price action pivot's a little bit more, in my opinion, accurate, which actually broke, which is not good. Maybe we put this on, what's it called? Log, then it won't. Look, if I try to recreate that trend line, it actually doesn't fit all that well, or at least it'd be lower, if anything. Maybe you could take it from here, but still, then it's it's going to be broken, I suppose. I'm not a big fan of these types of trend lines for the exact reason that you can see right here. The smallest change in the in the slope or the degree creates such a significant change, later on. I prefer horizontals for that reason. So I don't really pay too much attention to that sort of stuff. And if we do, and I'm just not able to recreate exactly what you're saying as well. Anyways, you're asking if there's a chance for a huge cup and handle. I know you hate patterns. I don't necessarily hate patterns. I just think that they're more or less subjective in a lot of cases, but they can work out. I mean, anyone who's been around trading for, even a few years has seen things play out, well enough to where you should at least know them. In the short term, look, I think it's going to go up here regardless of that. Why? We got some objective technical signals. We got hidden bullish evidence on the weekly RSI, also reclaiming the moving average there. And it is technically on higher lows still. So I think that this thing pops back up close to like 960 or maybe even 1 trillion again on this rally. And even the monthly time frame does have potential for hidden bullish evidence between this low from March of last year and the current low from December. Just needs to basically hold the January lows, which is 820 billion. So as long as you're above there, I'm actually happy to be short-term, medium-term bullish on this thing. Is it a cup and handle? I don't think so. I don't think it really matters whether it is or isn't. Technically, no, because you don't really see like a handle drag on like this. Or if it was, this would have been your cup and handle right here. You got your cup, then you got your handle right there, and that already broke out. So this is a different thing. If anything, this is probably forming something like an ascending triangle, right? Something like this. Also bullish, also good, also a continuation pattern, but technically not the exact one that you mentioned there. Okay. Great White Hype says DFDV. Gotcha. DFDV. Ugh. Need to get a humidifier for my bedroom. My fucking throat is not good. DFDV, not a big fan of this thing, although I do think that it will rally here. Just ugly. Like this looks like a shitcoin chart to me because it's based off of shitcoins, right? It's based off of Solana, I believe. But I do think it's going to rally here. I do think that you get a sizable rally to like $9, maybe even $10. Still lower highs though, unfortunately. But yeah, should rally from here and decently from where you're at. I mean, that's a 50% rally from where you're at right now. That's big. It's very big. But this is the fucking Burj Khalifa Eiffel Tower of death pattern, goes up once, goes down only after that. Just going to see a big sort of mean reversion play right now off of a bounce, I think. Hopefully I'm wrong. We already looked at ZEC. We already looked at that many moons ago, sir. Get with the program. Asti says Sats daily, monthly. Happy New Year to you as well, Asti. Yeah, we already looked at this one as well. I think we already got the time frames you're looking at too. Yeah, if I'm on the daily here, it's really difficult for me. I'm inclined to say up first on this one. Like it follows through with the upside first and then comes down later this quarter or next quarter. I just think that the run is mostly has seen most of its gains already for this thing. So yeah. We got Blake 7791. He says, "Hey, Crown and Elsa, what's up, man? Know you're a busy man, but when you get some time, can you add some examples of strategies for the price action pivots?" Yeah, we can definitely do that. I can also ask Bear Nutrition as well, who is the progenitor of that indicator, to show his own strategies as well. But there's a lot of ways you can use that one, man. You can use it to basically like show you patterns. I mean, it should be rather obvious when you see something like that. You can use it as like an intrabar scalping tool, similar to the historical price action scissors indicator, which by the way have their own little scalping available right now. I mean, just pulling back a little bit. I would not try to hit a home run right here, by the way, because this one does have a higher low now. So yeah, but a few $100 scalp, there you go. It's in your hand right now. I'd close your hand if you took that scalp. But yeah, as far as the price action pivots go, I mean, you can scalp them, on the first pass of a pivot. It's usually an intrabar thing. Can't get too greedy with these things. A few $100 there. Sometimes if you are trading with the current trend, then yes, you can get a little more greedy there, I suppose. But that's kind of the gist of it. There's many different ways to use it, of course, but those are kind of some of the ways that I like to focus on it. Basically, when I'm bored and I need like and I need some dopamine stimulation, as the saying goes right now. I will go to like a lower time frame, like an hourly time frame, and I will look at price action pivots, and I will just intrabar scalp off of those. I don't like to take big positions with this, more or less just scratching it. Just it's not meant to be like a big portion of my trading or anything like that. It's just, it's fun. Like, it's fucking fun. It's fucking fun. Okay. It's fun for the same reason that the historical price access indicator is also fun. It's like you get your daily, you get your daily opportunities, you get in and out relatively fast, done for the day. Okay, great. Anyways, see what else we got. Greg Griffith says, the almighty PP daily and weekly, my good sir. Let's see what PP is looking like right now. I mean, shit, if Bitcoin's going to rally, almost everything will. Whoops, let's maybe go back to Bitcoin. We don't want on this chart. Who gives fuck about stats on PP? Yeah, pretty good rally here. I did mark off this major moving average as a target for this rally, but I'm wondering why I did that. Why do that? Why? Let's put that on too. There we go. I don't know. I guess it still kind of makes sense as a target, I suppose. Yeah, maybe somewhere around there on this rally. I don't know what this number is too big to read, or too small to read, really. Bless you, sir. But wherever this red circle is right here, basically the weekly 55 EMA, I think that you might get to on this rally. It's still a lower high, still bearish overall, but yeah, should rally a little bit higher. And I mean, in terms of percentage, that's like a 26% move, maybe. I guess we must have marked this off the last time we looked at this. I don't really remember this one, to be honest. So fair enough. Okay. Let me read through some of these comments and see what else we got. Now that we're through all of the super chats there, someone still is stuck in Hex or Pulse chain and is asking about that. Good luck with that, sir. I'm not going to look at it, but good luck with that. I'm not reading all of that, but good luck with that. I'm sorry for you, or I'm happy for you, whichever one is more appropriate. All the best. Biff the Bull wants to look at Meta. Yeah, we can look at Meta. Some that's like actually doing some. Yes, the fundamentals of my P chain. Anyways, Meta. Fuck, I'm actually inclined. Hold on. Where's my other chart? There it is. All right, yeah, I need this chart right here. Let's go to a monthly. I'm inclined to say up from here. It's got hidden bullish evidence on this last higher low. I'm bullish as long as you're above the November low, and it's a crazy chart, but crazy charts typically get more crazy, I guess. Quarterly, I mean, yeah, that does look like a reversal. It does have bearish evidence, but failed to close below the red 5 EMA. So long term, I'm not really going to be bearish on it until at least that happens. That is where this thing does seem to initiate big corrections down to the yellow moving average, which is at like 450, 460 region. But I don't know, until then, man, like I don't want to be betting against this thing until proven otherwise. Yearly, it's not amazing, but I think that you still actually got some new highs to go. Aiden's is back. He's looking at RKT Stonk. Thank you for specifying it is indeed a Stonk. Rocket Companies. Short to midterm. I know you didn't ask about the yearly, but I think this thing actually is going to have a pretty good year here. Short term, I think that you're popping back up to $22.50, the top side of the range here. Probably pulls back after that, but I think that this thing is going to make a real breakout attempt this year. This is good. I don't know what the hell this thing is. I'm going to write it down because this is like my favorite thing about these streams, man. Learned about all sorts of interesting charts that I probably wouldn't have seen otherwise. What is it? It's a finance, rental, leasing, whatever. Either which way, I do like a good chart, and I really respect the higher lows here. I think that this thing will actually bust through probably this year, probably this quarter. Yeah. Just need to see it close above 21.5, and at that point, I mean, it's just going to float past 30, I imagine. Something like that, man. Overall, pretty good. Short term, I think that you pop back up towards the highs of September, and maybe a short term pullback from there, and then try a real breakout somewhat soon after that. Let's do a Meta Signals meetup in Florida. We could, but I'm actually not in Florida, so a little bit difficult, man. I think their founder actually as well. I don't want to dox exactly where he lives, but he lives in like Southeast Asia. So yeah. Anyways, Snot Pla says, another great stream, guys. Thanks, man. I sent my gun build info and picked. Oh, fuck yeah, man. Actually, I should warn you. That might not be the best email. It depends which one you have. The email to get through to us is elsa.crown. Oh, okay. Elsa got it. Okay, nice. Thank you for that, man. I appreciate it. Elsa will send it to me, hopefully right now. Anyways, McDonald's House says, can you scope Bitcoin on the 1 hour? Is it going to retrace to 91,800? Let's see. Very specific number. We do have a short-term swing high right there. Yes. We do have some bearish divergence from the hourly to RSI. Yes. Do I think it's going to pop down? I think it's going to pop down at least to 92,700, 91,800. Possible, but it's not my first target. I think very likely you get 92,700. Yeah. Yeah, I would say 92,700. I'm not so confident about 91,700, or at least I'd need to see it close below, very specifically 91,700. Sorry. Even then, man, I mean, it does have a bit of a base here on this morning's low, and that's 324. So I did actually see it close below there, and then yeah, I'd say like 91.7, 91.8 is very likely, but yeah, not my first target right now. I need to see one other thing happen first. But I do think you get a little bit of a pullback here. I mean, you are basically at the top side of the range already, so that's almost always going to be a bit of a pullback on the first pass. One of those intra-bar type scalp plays, if you will. But 91.8, a little bit lower than my first target. Anyways, Batmanny says, hi, Crown, long-time lurker. What's your updated thoughts on AMD? Oh, man, it's been like years since I've looked at this, so I have no idea. Last time we looked at it, I do remember this thing being bullish back in 2023. So that's cool to see that play out. I can tell you I don't like their products, but their chart is not bad at all. It's actually quite good. Do I think that you might see a pullback to like 190, 195, 200, whatever, somewhere in that $10 spread there this quarter between now and March? Yeah, I think it's possible, but overall, this is good. Overall, I think that this thing will try for some new highs this year. So short term probably pulls back first, then later this year probably tries to rally. Weekly timeframes caught within a bit of a range here. Something like this is a top side of your range, basically last week's high at 234, and then the price action pivot here at 194.25 is your range low. Basically not much doing between there. So you just reject to the top side of your range. I think you probably come back down to that range low. That's 195, then something like that, and then try some upside if I had to guess. So yeah. Biff the Bull says, Crown, what are some things that you didn't like about Tampa? I actually really like Tampa, man. I don't really have that many cons going with it. It gets quite humid in the summer, of course, but in general, it's a very nice place, especially if you stick to downtown. If you start to go outside of downtown, it's not as nice anymore. I mean, you definitely start to feel a little more beat up and rough around the edges in some of those areas. But yeah, it's pretty wild. It's very pretty overall, I would say as well. But, living there, a lot of the stuff is a lot older, and I have personal concerns with mold issues in general. And that's kind of an issue, unfortunately, with Florida. Basically, every house that I looked at in Florida was having like something to do with mold. And I personally cannot live with that. It really disturbs me. And then of course, you got like actual environmental risk, which like, it's just, I don't know, man. I personally cannot live with that. I don't want to live with that, at least. Anyways, as he says, Crown, how high can ABAT go this quarter? Well, the answer is always infinity, but it's just very unlikely. ABAT, I really don't like the chart. I do want to say that, but do I think it's going to go up this quarter? Yeah. Do I think what's like a high probability upside target? I'd say back to like 575. But I think that I personally think that this is probably going to be a down only chart. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but this is not great since 2021. The rest of the market's been in a bull market. This one hasn't. That's not a good sign in my opinion. But I do think that you try some upside here, and I do think that 575 is a pretty good high quality target that very likely will get hit. And if I'm wrong, you'll know because it starts to push up a little bit more from there. And at that point, it actually probably is going to be pretty fucking good, and you're going to hate me because it's going to go like $15-20 from there if that happens. But personally, I'd play it more conservatively just because of the history. The Schwab says, did you look at Hood? I'm late to the party this morning. All good, sir. Test of the all-time highs in quarter one. I don't know. We haven't seen this one, so let's check it out. Test of the all-time high. I do think that you will retest the open of last quarter at like 150. I think that does happen this quarter. Could it make new highs this quarter? This is not bad here at all. It's really not. Hey. Yeah, it's really not. It's possible. It's certainly possible, but I do think you at least get that. I think very high probability you will see like 140 to 150. It's basically your all-time high already, I guess. Yeah. If it can close a weekly above 140, like not just intra-bar, but close a weekly above there, I think that you will make new all-time highs this quarter or at latest next. We do have some bullish signals here, hidden bullish evidence on the weekly time frame. So short term, yeah, I do think that it tries some upside, back to 130, 140. I would say personally 140. And if you start to see closures above there, then yeah, sure. This thing's going to not just retest all-time highs, it's going to make new all-time highs. It's going to be quite good. Yeah. Yes. I think we're probably getting towards the end of the stream here. Got to take the old pupperoo to the vet today. He's been having some kennel cough. Yeah, I mean, probably just end after a Cloud to Bussy. He's looking at Guild on NAS. Okay. Need to save my voice a little bit too. Yeah, I literally just did it. Not great, man. This one's topping out, I think. Multiple drives of bearish evidence on the weekly RSI. Crown oscillator turning down, low volatility. I think this thing's going to come back down to like 110, 115 region. Sorry, 110 to like 113. It's not that big of a move, to be fair. What is this thing? Yeah, you retested your all-time high. You're pulling back from there. I think that this thing is actually going to pull back like kind of decently from here. Yeah, 112, let's call it. Something like that. Long term, not bad. I do think that this pullback, whether it gets to 112 or maybe even as low as like 105, is going to be an opportunity long term. But this thing doesn't really have like amazing returns, it looks like. I mean, but yeah, no, probably does make new highs this year. After, I think it's pullback first, then new highs. So maybe it ends up looking something like this. Boom, and then boom. Yeah. I do think that you have a local high in there, though. All right, cool. I think that's where we're going to end things for today, guys. Again, I want to massively thank everyone for joining in on this nice little Monday morning. Always fun. And just a quick reminder that, yes, indeed, we are having a sale for the new year. The code is 2026 for 20% off of any one of the programs or services in the teachable link description below. Applies to all the programs and payment plans and all of this and that. Pretty simple there. Again, the code is 2026. 2026. Simple as, and we shall end things on that note. We'll be back on tomorrow with another regular video analysis and then another live stream on Wednesday and Friday, of course, as well. Keeping up with the tradition. Next week might be a little bit of a different schedule, but yeah, things actually starting to happen a little bit here. I feel like the patience is slowly being rewarded. And while Bitcoin, probably does pull back a little bit from the retest of the December high, ultimately, I do think that this one will push through in this month of January, and we get the rally that we've been looking for. And the real question is, does it finish above 107.5 or not? If it does, I'm happy to be bullish. If it doesn't, then I'm happy to be very bearish. So yeah, thanks again, guys. Take care, much love, and see you hopefully on, well, I guess on tomorrow.